Tato Cat and welcome to my channel. Today we are playing the letter. Previously, after witnessing Isabella and Becca's fight, Zach kind of doesn't step in as he should, and Isabella walks away, and we have the option to take her side or Becca's side, and I chose Isabella's side. Because I agree, we need to go back to the house, but also I just don't like Becca. And then after all the huff puff, we yell at Rebecca, and then Rebecca storms away, and then we follow Isabella, and then we make Isabella laugh with really bad jokes. And then after discussing the whole mansion thing, we're like, no, it's too dangerous, which is the wrong choice because her relationship status went down. Even though Zach is planning to do it, but whatever, that's not the point, and hopefully that doesn't end in his death. I just said Zach is dead. Ashton plans to do it, and it might end up in his death, just like Zach died. We kind of end up blurting out that Zach died instead of giving her a proper speech, and now we're with the aftermath of that, and that's where we left off. Let's continue. She doesn't even shed a single tear. Uncharacteristic. Just a silence that stretches far too thin till the air in the whole room grows awkward and suffocating. A standstill will get us nowhere. Although, if there is one thing our talk has wonderfully succeeded in at making me feel like a total asshole and a hypocrite. Because you are. And I am considering my plans tonight. Sure, I can tell her, but what good would it do? I do intend to tell G before leaving tonight. He has to know if he's going to be keeping an eye on them for me. This can't end well. It really can't. I'm pretty sure if I chose the other option, then she would have gone with us. And then Zach wouldn't be, I keep calling him Zach, and Ashton wouldn't be alone, and now Ashton's going to die. Of course. One person is already enough, however. Hell, simply letting someone in on the plan makes me iffy. Broadening the circle and revealing too much would just cause another pointless concern. But someone has to be aware, at least of where I'm heading off to in case things don't pan out. Expect the worst, even if I've only intended to do a quick survey of the place. In my own words, frisky. Isabella doesn't need to be burdened with the worry my entire scheme entails. I like to think that, yes, to some extent, she understands, even if she does not entirely agree with me. The dilemma's clear in her. Otherwise, her scowl would have deeper set to it, her lips wouldn't be pressed in a thin line, or her hand would no longer be balled into fists. She would have pushed the argument. If she doesn't, and I know she has no lack of things to say. Maybe it's because she has already heard the same thing from Rebecca. Maybe my words have made her come to her senses. Either way, it's best that we simply leave it here for now. I've already said enough. I stand up, and soon as footsteps shuffle from the next room, its cadence slow and hesitant. Shortly, Rebecca comes into view, clutching her hands firmly in front of her and sporting the same uncertainty in her face. She casts me a cursory look, then shifts nervous one to Isabella, who studies her with an almost hopeful gleam in her eyes. Their fights never did last long.
Belle, can we talk? Alone?
Her interruption could not have come sooner. I am all the more glad for it. Whatever kind of friendship I share with the two, this remains something for only the two of them, much like my own with Zach. I'm the outsider. They don't need me here. It's all the reason I need. Muttering. Oh, journal entry. After scolding Rebecca for her harsh tone, a concerned Ashton followed after Isabella. He found her alone in a corner of the lounge, upset. Despite agreeing with her, he insisted she would be putting herself at risk by coming back, although she acquiesced. Dismay was clear in her face. Okay. Oh, so pushing J doesn't exit the journal. I still have to exit the journal. What new? I just read it. There is no more new. Okay. Muttering an excuse, I beat a hasty exit out of the main lounge and leave them to mend things on their own. Before Isabel can say what she's been mulling over, before the last imploring glance she directs my way forces me to change my mind. It's another lasting image that firmly etches itself in my memory, one that spurs the conscience among the other things. I just hope I won't regret what I've chosen for myself tonight. Yep, he did. uh, I've killed 2 people now. I mean, Ashton hasn't died yet, but I feel like that killed him. Galway Shaw's Monday night crowd, although small and barely occupies a quarter of the whole pub, provides ample enough cover for anyone who wishes to leave the place unnoticed. Just exactly what I need tonight. The lively music and chatter slipping out, mostly unseen, becomes a piece of cake. Without much trouble, soon enough I find myself standing outside under the chilly Luxembourg night. A gust of wind picks up shortly after I step out, carrying the telltale smell of an impending rain. I'll give about an hour or 2 before it starts. From the looks of it, tonight will be another downpour, maybe even stronger than the one we've had this morning. On instinct, I hunch further into my jacket, hugging its thick material close to my body, while I weave my way through the lines of empty cars in the parking lot. The letter crinkles in my pocket with each step I take, though I pay it no mind as I hurry towards my car. I've nicked it minutes ago from Isabella's belongings on my way out. If this is all connected, I need a stamped piece of paper with me. However ridiculous it sounds, I'm quite sure it won't be missed either, but I can't waste time here and wait for her to find out, can I? 4 hours is all I'm giving myself to get this done. Regardless of how generous that is, each second's just as important as the next. So I hurry, one footstep over the other, echoing as I make a beeline for my car. But as with every plan, problems crop up at the last second. It's practically a universal rule. If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. Is that Murphy's Law or something? And it does. In the form of a lone figure waiting for me next to my car. Rebecca turns just as I near the corners of her mouth, twitching up in wry smile. She offers no greeting except for a slight tilt of her head. Even as my pace slows and I look at her with all the unvoiced questions in my eyes, she remains wordless, merely throwing her head back and shifting her attention up at the starless sky. When I come up to stand beside her, another gust of wind blows as she breathes out a sigh, weary, thick with something close to resignation. The breeze carries all of it away while she hugs her arms closer to herself, keeping warm, which raises the question why she's out here. The air is already heavy with the promise of rain, with clouds obscuring the view. There's really nothing left to look at but dark blankets of nothingness. Still, she stands here as if she's intentionally waiting for everything to fall. That, or she's here for some other reason. But before I can voice a single word, express a disapproval of any kind, she raises a halting hand at me, sharply cutting off the rest of my question.
I'm not here to stop you, wherever it is you're planning to go off tonight. I won't be able to anyway. You look like you've already made up your mind.
Go back inside. It's going to rain soon. It'll probably be even heavier than the downpour we had this morning. You wouldn't want to be caught in it.
I will, in a moment. I just want to stay out here a bit for some air, away from the noise inside. Everything's been so chaotic these days. This little break is nice, even if it means standing in the middle of a parking lot, of all places. Getting out of this mess would definitely be better, but hey, you take what you can get, right?
It'll be over soon.
The confidence in my own words surprises even me. How do I know? Why am I so sure? When in truth, what I'm about to do is the last-ditch effort. If this fails, if I don't find anything, we're back to square one. It's the last lead I have. After this, we have nothing else to go off from. Regardless, it seems to amuse her, and her laughter soon sounds above the murmur of the distant traffic and the light drafts sweeping around us.
How I wish. I'll be content as long as she stops showing up in my mind whenever I close my eyes.
I think that may take some time. The brain doesn't easily forget trauma.
I can try. But, you know, it also did a lot to us.
Tell me about it. The back of my head's still smarting from my fall last night.
Not that kind. I'm talking about us. As people. I hate to admit it, but this whole deal with the ghost, with the curse, it also brought out an ugly side to us. To all of us. And it made me realize plenty of things. About myself. About us.
Rebecca trails off. Suddenly, a pensive expression spreads across her face. I've seen it countless of times before, and every time I see it on her, it's usually followed by a memory, a silly story, or even something embarrassing I've said from childhood. Unlike me, who'll much rather forget, she remembers each of them so easily. And after a short bout of silence, when she smiles, I know this is one of those times again.
Do you remember that one time back in secondary?
Which one? We did a lot of dumb things back then. Well, I did, but you get the point.
Mandy.
I thought you still don't like her. Don't tell me you've kept in contact with her. Are you guys friends now or something?
Oh, no. We do see each other sometimes. On the way to work or when I go out for lunch, but it's nothing like that. We're not friends. Not in this lifetime. I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever get along, but if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't even be friends, yeah?
Was Mandy a bully?
You stood up for me that day. And from then on, things have changed.
So that kind of explains the picture before, I guess. She makes it sound like I'm some sort of hero. Mandy was in the wrong. Of course, I'll defend her. If no one's going to stand up for her, who else will? Chances are, it would have escalated, and who knows? Maybe she would have stopped going to school or transferred. Any decent human being with an ounce of sense should know better. I acted because I know what I'm doing is what's right. It's as simple as that. Yet, she smiles as if it's worth more than that. A fondness that goes beyond nostalgia.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is, this time, I don't want this to go unsaid. You know, just in case something happens. Ash, I've always been in love with you.
What? Why now? I don't like you. Go away. I mean, if I end up with a happy route with Becca and Ash, part of me is going to be really irritated for some reason. I don't know if that's just how the story will always end up, but I will certainly continuously do it over again to make sure that's not true. She says it so plainly, holding my gaze in a voice too frank that her admission stuns me into silence. Like the wind has suddenly been knocked out of me in one fell swoop. No words will form, not even a single coherent thought, as the meaning of her words bear down on me. Nevertheless, she continues, desperate to express everything she's kept to herself all these years. This is what the fondness is. Why for her it weighs heavier than any feeling of nostalgia can carry.
Since that time in secondary, since I made that promise to never leave, I've always truly loved you.
Afterwards, there's a relief, a weight suddenly being lifted from her shoulders after so long. She closes her eyes and lets out a breath. When she looks back to me, though, there's nothing but hope in them. Eyes that are searching for an answer. Pacing the sincerity behind her words, I find myself grasping, scrambling for the words. Because, as much as this pains me to admit, I can't give her the same affection she's asking from me. We might have spent so many years alongside each other. Hell, we practically grew up together. But that never automatically means I'll ever hold for her feelings goes beyond the boundaries of friendship. I do appreciate her presence in my life. I'm more than glad that she has stuck with me even through the toughest moments. even when she finds me difficult or aggravating. However, it's really all there is to it. She's a close, important friend to me, but nothing more.
Rebecca,
I draw a breath, ragged, unsure, uncertain how and which words to put together, so it will hurt her less, so the wounds they might leave won't be as deep or scar. Though before I can even string two phrases together, she lifts a hand to my mouth and silences me. A smile's on her face, kinder than every single one I've seen from her so far. It's nice to see it on her. It suits her more than the glares or the frowns. But at the same time, it only serves to baffle me.
You don't have to answer me.
yeah, but you should. I should.
No, I mean, you don't need to.
Okay, now I'm really confused. One moment you're saying you've been in love with me since secondary, now you're telling me to shut up?
If you want to interpret it like that, all right.
No, really. Some explanation would be nice, Becca.
Weren't we just like, yes, we have 4 hours, let's do this. And now we're like, wait a second, what? And explain to me in further detail, even if it takes hours.
Because a lot of things are going on right now, and I'm afraid I can't catch up. Especially with this curveball you just threw.
It means what it means, Ashton. You don't need to answer me. I don't really need to hear it anymore. It's not that I don't want to. Believe me, if I were the same person I was before this whole thing happened to us, I'd be elated, excited even. But, like I said, I also realized some things. Understood myself more. Ash, I did love you. Ever since we were kids, all those times you defended me from bullies. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Even after this.
I got an achievement for that.
But at the end of the day, once you take a closer look at everything, it also turned me into a really selfish person. When you think about it, maybe the Ashton I loved isn't the one standing in front of me right now. Maybe all this time, I'm still clinging on to that aloof kid I met 17 years ago. I didn't even consider that you have a mind of your own. That one day, it won't just be the two of us. That you'll find someone else and it won't be me.
I'm sorry, Becca.
I'm not even sure what I'm apologizing for. That I can't return her feelings, or because I'm somehow holding myself responsible for this. Even if up until now, I have no idea how she felt. Regardless, she continues to smile through all of it. So he really had no clue. I thought he did, and he just didn't say anything, but he's just an idiot. Understood.
It's not your fault. Don't say that. I'm the one who should apologize. Since I suddenly sprung this up on you when you have other things to do, I just thought I should let you know, so I can finally let this whole thing go. One question, though. Are you going to tell her?
Do we get an option for that?
Tell what to who?
I pause, frowning a brief moment of doubt while I try to figure out what she's talking about. All of a sudden, when it finally sinks in, though my bewilderment hastily gives way to utter embarrassment.
Oh.
Look on his face, though.
Oh, shit.
Heat abruptly crawls up my face, no matter my efforts to keep it down. In the end, I can only look away from her, afraid of what she see in it.
Did you really think no one would notice?
Was it. Was it that obvious?
People just aren't as stupid as you, Ashton.
It was surprisingly easy to tell. But that was probably because I've known you longer than anyone.
Fuck, who else knows?
I think Zach suspects.
Shit.
You're embarrassingly lame when you're trying too hard. It's almost painful to watch.
It is. She's not wrong.
Don't worry. With your terrible way of flirting, and knowing her, I'm quite sure Belle has no idea, even now. Not even a clue.
Harsh, Rebecca. Really harsh. I could use a vote of confidence, you know.
She laughs, loud, the kind that's free of any burden, ringing above the wind, slowly picking up as the storm clouds approach. With it, however, those awkward atmosphere lifts. At least there's only that camaraderie we shared since meeting in the classroom 7 years ago.
I'm serious, though. Tell her. And if you ever make her cry, I'll hit you with every damn history book I have on my shelf. Clear?
Noted, ma'am.
Anyway, thanks for hearing me out. I won't keep you long. I know you have things to do. Just promise me you'll be careful, all right?
I'll try to let him live. She doesn't wait for an answer. Instead, she gives me a push with a force only heavy enough to throw me off balance. Caught unawares by the gesture for a few moments, I fight for purchase against my car's trunk. Sorry, that just looks weird. Bracing my hand on its smooth surface. Journal updated. Okay. What do you have, Monsieur Journal? Ashton left for the mansion at nightfall, but when he got to his car, he found Becca waiting for him. Fearing she might not have the chance, Rebecca confessed her feelings, if you will. But before he could answer, Rebecca stopped him and admitted she had been selfish and she was letting him go. She only wanted him to know. Still don't like her. Like her better, but still don't like her. Again with the... What do you mean new? I read the new thing. There's a small skip in her step, while the breeze carries the light tune she's whistling. On a whim, I let its notes be the last thing I commit in memory before slipping inside my car and driving off. It sounds like a new beginning, more than anything. Another reason to be optimistic. Within 10 minutes, I'm driving out of Luxbourne and headed straight to Onslow Village. In the distance, flashes of lightning light up the horizon, white and sharp against the black curtain of the night. Thunder threatens with a rumble, seconds later, echoing long across the sky. Thunder rolls and the lightning strikes, do, do, do. And with one last roar, the skies open in earnest. November 1st. November 1st. It's happening. Oh, okay. We will see what happens on November 1st in the next episode. I am Tato Cat. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon.